Hey, welcome to day 2 of Surrounded, a walk through Psalm 23. Today we get started on verse 1. So let's read this together today. Psalm 23:1 says this: "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Now, fairly short verse, right? Well, it may be short in length, it's not short in meaning, that's for sure. This really sets the tone for the rest of the chapter. And David, who knew something about shepherding, and he knew something about God. See, he had found God to be like a good shepherd. Now, before we dig into the importance of God being like a shepherd, notice first what David writes. And this is vital toward the rest of this chapter, and we will overlook it every single time if we're not careful, because David writes this: "The Lord is my shepherd." See, he could have referred to God as a shepherd, and he'd have been right. No problem. See, but at this point in David's life, he knows God as his shepherd. This is personal for David. It's went from a shepherd to my shepherd. And see, we aren't just talking about a distant God. We aren't just talking about my grandma's God, or we're not talking about somebody else's. We're talking about my God. This is personal for me, and because it's personal, it sets the tone for the remainder of the chapter. And when it's personal for us in our life, it sets the tone for everything else that we do. You see, I can't live off grandma's faith. I can't live off somebody else's faith. I can't live off of a revival from 10 years ago. This has to be personal for me, or otherwise it's going to mess up the tone for the rest of my life. When God is my shepherd, then I know personally that he walks with me through dark valleys and comforts me and nourishes me. I'm not trying to live off someone else's testimony, but I've found out from my own relationship with God that he has remained faithful and has watched over me and led me like a shepherd leads sheep. See, David wrote this when he was king and he had seen God do mighty things in his life. You see, reading or hearing about it doesn't make it personal at all. Walking through the valley and holding God's hand through it all, well, that makes it very personal. See, he is a shepherd, but he's my shepherd. See, part of recognizing God as my shepherd is also recognizing that I am his sheep. The enemy would come to get the sheep, and without a shepherd, the sheep would be completely defenseless. Think about it. They don't have fierce teeth. They aren't muscular. They don't run fast. They can't jump high. They're not intimidating, and they don't breathe fire, and they don't have poisonous fangs. I mean, if anything comes against them, they literally have no way of protecting themselves. So a shepherd would be their only defense. And not only do I need the defense of the shepherd, but as a sheep, I also need the provision of the shepherd, because I don't really have the ability to provide on my own. So I need someone to guide me to pastures that I can graze in so I can be full. And not only is my shepherd my provider, but he also guides me. He guides me down the paths of life. He guides me to the place that I can find nourishment. My shepherd is so many things, and the truth is my shepherd is my everything. So when I read and speak this verse, I'm confessing my need for the shepherd, and I'm confessing that the shepherd is so good at everything he does that I will not lack a thing. I'm not sure about you, but when I chase the item I need, I seem to always come up short. I've chased money before in my life only to find out that I was further from it than when I started my journey. Instead of chasing the money or the nourishment, instead of chasing the blessings, at some point, and I still do it today, I choose to chase the one that is nourishment and the one that blesses. The Lord is a shepherd, and because he is, those that trust him will never want. But the key to it all is when we move from the place of talking about a shepherd and into a place that the shepherd is my shepherd. So let's make that our prayer today. God, help me in making you my shepherd. God, help me in making this personal. God, I want this to be more than a story. I want this to be more than my grandma's God. I want this to be personal. Come take my hand today, God, and let's journey together as I learn of your greatness as my shepherd. I want to encourage you today. Make this your prayer. Dear God, help me to come to a place where I not only know about the shepherd, but that I know you as my shepherd. Make this personal, God. And once we make this personal, it'll set the tone for everything else for the remainder of our life. And if you don't believe me, just take David's word for it. As he began the very most famous chapter in the entire Bible, probably, with "The Lord is my shepherd." See you tomorrow. Love you.